Convening has arrived. I'd ask that all senators please take your seats and cease all audible conversations. The time for convening has arrived, and I'd like to welcome you to the 156th General Assembly. It's great to see so many familiar faces here, and it's great to see so many new faces, and I want to just continue to encourage this chamber to build relationships. Build relationships on the floor, build relationships across every line, party lines, geographic lines, district lines. Continue to build relationships and continue to put our Senate in an incredible position to succeed for 11 million Georgians each and every day. There's so many people to thank for us being here today. Obviously, we are living in unprecedented times, and it is incredible the amount of work that has gone into safely and efficiently and effectively getting us here today. Many of you in this chamber have pulled together and given great advice. So many folks in the Administrative Affairs Committee, our Secretary's office, the Pro Tem's office, our office, Department of Public Health, and so many others have worked together to provide for us a safe environment for us to go back to do the people's work. And I'm grateful for all of that input. I would encourage you, as a couple of house cleaning items, to make sure that we understand a couple of items that are important to highlight. Masks are mandatory in the chamber unless you are at the rostrum or the well. And I've got a mask handy just so that everybody can see it. Our testing program is off to a great start. I want to personally thank Georgia Tech and their entire team. I was first introduced to their testing program several months ago on campus when they launched it to get their students back, in the saliva surveillance-based testing program, I believe, is a winning strategy for a surveillance testing program, and I want to thank them and their efforts and their innovation to allow us to be able to participate in that program. Certainly, it's going to continue to be a work in progress. I continue to encourage every senator and staff to be as patient as possible as we work through this, but certainly it's going to be an effective strategy for us to continue to come to work each and every day. The testing is for all members and staff 2 times per week during session, and certainly want to make sure that everyone is thoughtful for that. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our chaplain of the day and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Thomas, if you can come up. Please stand with me and let's go through our Pledge of Allegiance. So I've been looking forward to this opportunity for the better part of 6 months. Thomas Shipman is our chaplain of the day, and he's become a very, very close personal friend of mine. And y'all have probably heard this story too many times, that most of my close friends I've met on a baseball field. Now, you'll see he's an opposing figure, and he looks like he's still an athlete, but it's not his baseball talents that introduced us together. It's his son. Our sons play travel baseball together. And if you ever want to get to know somebody, if you ever want to get to know who they are and what they stand for, just spend an entire travel baseball season with them. You're in the stands 6 hours, sometimes on a Saturday. You're with them every weekend. You stay in hotels in other cities. You get to know who they are. And I got to know Thomas Shipman, and I liked what I saw. I saw a man of God. I saw a father. I saw a friend. It's interesting. Thomas has a great sense of humor, and I don't know if he's going to bring that today or if he's going to just, pound the rostrum here. We'll see what we get. But interesting story. When I sat on the sidelines one day, and I said, Thomas, I'd love for you to come down to the Senate and lead us as our chaplain of the day. And he kind of looked at me. I don't know if he didn't realize I was a lieutenant governor or if there was even a thing, right? I was wearing a pair of shorts and a T-shirt and a hat on backwards. So we got time to kind of set him up and line him up to be here for the first day, and I called Beth Green, and I said, Beth, I'm going to need you to call Thomas Shipman as my chaplain of the day and tell him all about it. And she said, well, why wouldn't you call him? He's a great friend of yours. I said, because if I call him, he's not going to believe me. And so Beth called him and set it all up. And so on this past Saturday, we're sitting out there, and our kids were at a baseball practice, and it was freezing cold. And I said, Thomas, you ready for Monday? And he said, yes, sir, I'm ready to go. I said, what kind of instructions have they given you? And he said, well, they told me when they called me on the phone that I get to speak for 13 minutes. And I said, they were wrong. It's not 13 minutes. It's much shorter than that. The attention span of the Senate is not that long. So Thomas is here today, but I want to highlight a couple of things. Thomas has been in Christian ministry for 17 years. He's pastored 2 churches over the last 10 years, and he lives close to us in Hickory Flat. He's got his wife Jessica's here, and she's obviously with us all the time on the sidelines at our baseball games. But his family's got 4 kids. His son that plays with my son's name is Micah. Here's the part that draws me in, and I just told this to Thomas downstairs in my office. He considers it his duty to tell everyone about what God has done in his life. Not what he should be doing in your life, but what God has done in his life. And to me, that's the most powerful way to make a difference if you're a Christian. It's my honor to recognize Thomas Shipman as our chaplain of the day.
Good morning. I hope and trust that everybody's doing well, and I'll say this. It's a great honor to stand before you. Like Jeff told you, I'm just a simple person. Come from a simple little town, but I was brought up with values. And I was brought up with values that I was taught that the way I live my life speaks character of who I am around everybody that's around me. And what I do with my life impacts a lot of people. So if I can impact anybody, I want to impact them for the good. And I want to see the good in people. And I'll say this to you. I know I don't have long, and sometimes I get accused of being very long-winded. At the churches I pastor, their chicken got cold sometimes. But I tried to give them everything that the Lord give me. I know that we live in a time today, folks, where there's a lot of uncertainties. But I come today not to tell you about me, but to tell you about God. And there is no uncertainties when it comes to God. God knew what he was doing from the very outstart. I believe that. I believe that God has a purpose in every single one of our lives. I do believe that. I had some scripture, and I'll read that scripture to you. It's very familiar scripture. I'll tell you what I think about that, and I'll pray, and I'll step out of the way and let you conduct your business. The Bible teaches us, and now abideth faith, hope, and charity, these 3. But the greatest of these is charity. Charity is love. I feel like today we've got to a time in our lives where we can't love people anymore. And that bothers me as a Christian person, because I believe God is love. And I believe if we know God, we know love. One thing that my Bible teaches me, folks, is that I'll know that I have met the Savior of the world when I love my brethren. I encourage every one of you guys to love each other. I encourage you not to see through the eyes that maybe the Lord has allowed you to open today and come here and sit and talk about whatever business you may conduct, but that we might try to see each other through the eyes of Jesus Christ. You know what Jesus, you know what he sees in us when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a failure. I see somebody who messes up continuously. I see somebody who seems more down than up most of the time. But when I get my heart where it needs to be with God, folks, I see a figure that's inside of me that's alive, that's bigger than I'll ever be. I see a figure inside me that has showed me how to reach out and love people. I see a figure inside me that has showed me in the day that I live that it's more important today to find the good in people than to constantly look for the bad. My Bible says that there's brothers to be gained if we do it in the way that the Lord has taught us to do that. Faith. Sure, I have faith. Hope. Sure, I have hope. Charity. What is charity? It is love. And I have love. I have love because I know Jesus Christ. And I can tell you all the good things that he's done for me. Sure. But you know what? As I stand here today as a very small town man, a simple man, I am very, very nervous. I wish I could tell you that I wasn't. With what I'm doing, I'm standing in front of some pretty powerful people. But I want to encourage you, no matter how much power that you possess, that you step back and humble yourself around humanity. No matter what office you hold, you're a very small part in a very big world. And what you do, folks, does impact people that are around you. So consider the people that are around you when you consider doing things that's going to impact everybody. Wow, it's a big stage. But you know what? I serve a big God. I didn't come today for me that I might have a better name when I walk off here. I didn't come today that I could boast about being friends with Jeff. I love Jeff and I appreciate him. But I come today that maybe just for a minute, that you might be able to look back in time past, later on down the road, if God be willing, and say, you know what? That old country boy might not have been too smart. But I promise you one thing, I believe he had a heart that was good. And I believe that he loved people. And I believe that everybody that young man might have come in contact with showed people the love of God. That's what's important today, folks, is that we love each other and we understand each other. Sure, there's trouble in our land. Sure, there's places that we could go and find things that we don't like. But let's focus on trying to make those things better for each other. How do we do that? Not through an iron fist, but through a good heart. Search your heart. That's what the Bible tells me. Search your heart. Listen, I appreciate the opportunity. I've given you what the Lord's given me. I want to pray. I ask everybody to bow their heads, and I'll pray, and I'll step out of your way. Let us pray. Our loving Father, as we bow in your presence, Father, one more time today, God. Father, I'd ask you that you'd search this floor, Father, the heads that are bowed here today, God. Father, I pray, Lord, that you would go out, each and every one of us, God, and that you would guide us in the ways that you would have us to go. Father, help us, Lord, today to look to you to all things that need to be done, Father. Lord, I'm thankful today to be here, and I'm thankful, God, most of all, for what you've done in my life, God. Lord, it's not about me, Father. It's not about the things that I do, but it's all about you, Father. God, I pray you'd protect these people, God. Father, I pray, Lord, that you'd watch over these people, Lord, in their daily walk, Father. I pray that you'll be with them today, and when they leave to the capital today, God, to go to their different respected homes, Father, I pray that you'd watch over them. God, I ask that you'd guide their hearts and their minds, Father. But, Lord, most of all today, God, I pray, Lord, that we can get to a place, God, where we can build a bridge between each other, Father. That we can reach out to each other, Lord, and that we can love people for who they are, Father. Lord, that we can get to a place where we stop looking at everybody about the way that they think or maybe issues that they have in their lives. But, Father, that we can see each other through your eyes, Father. Lord, I know and realize today, God, that you died for me, but I believe you died for all. Father, I thank you, Lord, for the love that you allow me to share, the people that you allow me to meet, and, God, the things that you allow me to do. Father, I pray that you be with this Congress today, Father. Lord, I ask you that you'd one more time, please watch over them and protect them, Lord. Father, thank you so much for all the great things that you have done in my life. Thank you, Lord, for my salvation, for my family, Lord, for my children, God, for my friends, and each and every person, Lord, that you allow me to stand in front of. God, go with us. Lead, guide, and direct us, Lord. Forgive us, God, for our many sins and our shortcomings. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
At this time, I'd like to call the Senate back to order. I'd ask that the Senate come back to order and that all senators please take your seats so that we can move on with our business. At this time, I'd like to ask the Secretary to read a communication from the Secretary of State.
Office of Secretary of State, I, Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State of the State of Georgia, do hereby certify that attached are the results as shown on the consolidated returns from the general election for the offices of State Senate Districts 1 through 56 held on the 3rd day of November 2020. All as the same appear on file and record in this office. Senate District 1, Ben Watson. Senate District 2, Lester Jackson. Senate District 3, Sheila McNeil. Senate District 4, Billy Hickman. Senate District 5, Sheikh Rahman. Senate District 6, Jen Jordan. Senate District 7, Tyler Harper. Senate District 8, Russ Goodman. Senate District 9, Nikki Merritt. Senate District 10, Emmanuel Jones. Senate District 11, Dean Burke. Senate District 12, Freddie Powell Sims. Senate District 13, Cardin Summers. Senate District 14, Bruce Thompson. Senate District 15, Ed Harbinson. Senate District 16, Marty Harbin. Senate District 17, Brian Strickland. Senate District 18, John Kennedy. Senate District 19, Blake Tillery. Senate District 20, Larry Walker III. Senate District 21, Brandon Beach. Senate District 22, Harold Jones II. Senate District 23, Max Burns. Senate District 24, Lee Anderson. Senate District 25, Burt Jones. Senate District 26, David Lucas Sr. Senate District 27, Greg Dolezal. Senate District 28, Matt Brass. Senate District 29, Randy Robertson. Senate District 30, Mike Duggan. Senate District 31, Jason Anavitarte. Senate District 32, Kay Kirkpatrick. Senate District 33, Michael Rett. Senate District 34, Valencia C. Senate District 35, Donzella James. Senate District 36, Nan Orrock. Senate District 37, Lindsay Tippins. Senate District 38, Horacina Tate. Senate District 40, Sally Harrell. Senate District 41, Kim Jackson. Senate District 42, Elena Parent. Senate District 43, Tonya Anderson. Senate District 44, Gail Davenport. Senate District 45, Clint Dixon. Senate District 46, Bill Calzert. Senate District 47, Frank Ginn. Senate District 48, Michelle Au. Senate District 49, Butch Miller. Senate District 50, Bo Hatchett. Senate District 51, Steve Gooch. Senate District 52, Chuck Huffstetler. Senate District 53, Jeff Mullis. Senate District 54, Chuck Payne. Senate District 55, Gloria Butler. Senate District 56, John Albers. Respectfully submitted, Brad Raffensperger. Office of the Secretary of State. I, Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State of the State of Georgia, do hereby certify that the attached one-page lists the results as shown on the consolidated returns on this file in this office for the special election runoff held on December 1st, 2020 in District 39 for State Senate in Fulton County. Having received the majority of votes cast, Sonia Halpern was duly elected to this office. Respectfully submitted, Brad Raffensperger. This completes the order, Mr. President.
This is a moment in time that many of you have waited eagerly for and worked hard for. The next item of business is the swearing in and seating of members of the Senate. All senators, be certain to take your seats. It's my honor to introduce somebody who is so many friendships built in this room. We're honored to have a member of the Supreme Court of Georgia and a former member of this body to administer the oath of office to the senators. Justice Charlie Bethel was first elected to the state Senate, this chamber, and served in 2011 and served 3 terms as the senator from the 54th District. He's distinguished himself as the chairman of committees on reapportionment and insurance and labor. He was also an administrative floor leader for Governor Nathan Deal. More importantly, his strong leadership and skills and bright legal mind were evident every day on the floor of this Senate and certainly in the House as I served as a House member over there. We're proud to certainly call him one of our own. In November of 2016, Governor Deal appointed Justice Bethel to the Court of Appeals and later in 2018 to the Supreme Court of Georgia, where he currently serves with great distinction. Justice Bethel, it is an honor to have you with us here today, and I'd like to ask that you proceed to the well and administer the oath of office.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Secretary as well for having me with you today. It is a pleasure to be back in one of the places I consider a home and to see so many friends, and equally a pleasure to see so many new faces. What a testament to our system of government, the continuity as we continue to change, we continue to stay moored to those values of democracy. I'd like you all to prepare yourselves to take the oath. And in doing so, I'll just take a moment to remind you that this is an oath that, if taken seriously, is very difficult to achieve. So prepare your minds and hearts to take a solemn oath. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do hereby solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of this state and of the United States, and on all questions and measures which may come before me, I will so conduct myself as will in my judgment be most conducive to the interests and prosperity of this state. I further swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or due any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, of any other state or any foreign state, which by law I am prohibited from holding, that I have been a resident of my district for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state, that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia, so help you God. Congratulations, Senators.
Thank you, Justice Bethel. I greatly appreciate that. It's extremely humbling from this vantage point to watch 56 senators make that commitment to this great state. Congratulations to you and your families for an incredible effort. Justice Bethel, on behalf of the entire Senate, I want to thank you again for being with us today. Just as a reminder for this body, Justice Bethel has graciously agreed to be available to any senator who wants to have individual pictures taken of the swearing-in ceremony with their family and friends. Those ceremonies will begin at 1 p.m. today inside the Senate chamber. We will now proceed to seating of the senators. Is there objection to the seating of any senators? The chair hears none, and all senators are seated. We will now call the roll of the senators. The Secretary will call the roll. Signify your presence by voting the yea switch. The Secretary will unlock the machine. Just as a point of order, there are 56 members present and a quorum is established. Mr. Secretary, please close the machine. As an additional point of order, I had gone a little bit out of turn and said that there was an inaccurate number of members. There are 54 members present, and a quorum is established. Now that we've taken the roll, I'd like to have your attention that on your desk you've got a copy of the oath of office that you just took. Please sign and date that form and return it to the Secretary of the Senate. Once they receive your signed oath, they will give the official certification of election. This will give you the official. The Secretary will have staff in the lobby after we adjourn to assist you with this in the lobby. The next order of business will be the election of the President Pro Tem. I'd like to recognize the Senator from the 30th, our distinguished Majority Leader, for the purpose of making a nomination.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the past 3 years, the Senator from the 49th has served as our President Pro Tempore. He has performed his duties with integrity, honesty, and a tireless work ethic. It is my honor to nominate the distinguished Senator from the 49th as our President Pro Tem.
The Majority Leader has nominated the Senator from the 49th to the office of Pro Tem. Is there a second? There is a second. Chair would like to recognize the Senator from the 55th, the distinguished Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second the nomination of the Senator from the 49th of the office to the office of President Pro Tempore of the Senate.
The Minority Leader has seconded the nomination of the Senator from the 49th District. Are there any other nominations? The Chair sees none. The Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader.
President, I move that the nominations be closed.
The Majority Leader has moved that the nominations be closed and that the Secretary cast the unanimous vote of the Senate for the Senator from the 49th. Is there objection? The Chair hears none and the nominations are closed. All ballots cast, and I declare the Senator from the 49th duly elected President Pro Tem. At this time, I'd like to ask that the following members serve as a committee of escorts to escort the President Pro Tem to the rostrum. The Senator from the 30th, the Majority Leader, the Senator from the 55th, the Minority Leader, and the Senator from the 15th, the distinguished Dean of the Senate. I would ask that the committee of escorts proceed to the back of the chamber at this time. Mr. Doorkeeper. Mr. Doorkeeper, please allow the distinguished Senator from the 49th entrance to the chamber. The Committee of Escorts will escort the President Pro Tem to the rostrum. Members of the Senate, it is with great honor to present to you the distinguished Senator from the 49th, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, to deliver a few remarks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you to my colleagues for your trust and confidence. Thank you to my wife, Teresa, and to our sons, Kerry and Charlie, for their continued support and encouragement, and for keeping me humble. Senator, take out the trash. Dad, it's state senate. They have a way of keeping you humble, your children, your wife, your family. Thank you to my mother, who often tells me she's proud of me, but she had such low expectations, that's why. And thank you to Steve and Adeline and Tyler and my staff. They're like funeral directors. They always make me look good. Thank you. These remarks that I've prepared are brief, but they're really, they're for you. It's not about me, it's about you. Politics can be addictive, can be overwhelming, it can be intoxicating. You know, I've heard people say the only thing that get politics out of your blood is formaldehyde. We've got to keep things in perspective. This is a part-time job with an immense responsibility. You can't do this job at the detriment of your job at home, because your job at home is what feeds your family. We've got to have balance between family and business and public service. As the great philosopher Thomas Carlyle said, do the duty that lies nearest, and then you will know what duty is next. And Robert Penn Warren, speaking of politics, says, when they come to you with sweet talk, do not listen to what they have to say. Ladies and gentlemen of this august body, you and I have both witnessed families who have been destroyed by politics. We've both witnessed businesses and marriages and lives that have been destroyed by politics. Let's be careful that we don't drink that intoxicating beverage. Thank you all again for your trust and confidence. I'll do my very best to serve you with honor and dignity, and I'll do my very best to do anything and everything I can to help make you successful. It's an honor to serve with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done.
Appreciate you.
The next order of business will be the election of the Secretary of the Senate. I'd like to recognize the senator from the 50th, the distinguished majority whip, for the purpose of making a nomination.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor for me today to nominate the Honorable David Cook to the office of Secretary of the Senate.
The majority whip has nominated Mr. David Cook to the office of Secretary of the Senate. Is there a second? Chair would like to recognize the distinguished senator from the 22nd, the minority whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second the nomination of David Cook for the office of Secretary of the Senate.
The senator from the 22nd has seconded the nomination of Mr. Cook, and Mr. Cook is nominated. Are there any additional nominations? The chair sees none. Chair would like to now recognize the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the nominations for Secretary of the Senate be closed and that the Deputy Secretary cast the unanimous vote of the Senate for David Cook.
The majority leader has moved that the nominations be closed and that the Deputy Secretary cast the unanimous vote of the Senate for Mr. Cook. Is there objection? The chair hears none. The nominations are closed and all ballots cast, and I declare Mr. Cook duly elected Secretary of the Senate. Mr. Doorkeeper. Please allow Mr. David Cook, Secretary of the Senate, entrance to the chamber and escort him to the rostrum. Mr. Secretary, congratulations once again. You make all of us in this chamber look much smarter than we probably really are. Are you prepared to take the oath of office? Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will discharge my duties faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge. So help me God. Members of the Senate, it is my honor to present to you Mr. David Cook, Secretary of the Senate.
Thank you all very much. Mr. President, members of the Senate, it is for me such a wonderful honor and privilege to serve this Senate, and I am truly honored to have your continued support over these many years. I look forward to working with each of you, and please, if I can do anything for you, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. The next order of business will be the election of the Sergeant at Arms. I recognize the senator from the 56th for the purpose of making a nomination.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my great honor to nominate Mr. Jerry Cooley to the office of Sergeant at Arms.
The senator from the 56th has nominated Mr. Jerry Cooley to the office of Sergeant at Arms. Is there a second? The chair recognizes the senator from the 43rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second the nomination of Jerry Cooley to the office of Sergeant of Arms.
The senator from the 43rd has seconded the nomination of Mr. Cooley, and Mr. Cooley is nominated. Are there any additional nominations? The chair hears none. At this time, I'd like to recognize the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the nominations for Sergeant at Arms be closed and the Secretary cast the unanimous vote of the Senate for Jerry Cooley.
The majority leader has moved that the nominations be closed and that the Secretary cast the unanimous vote of the Senate for Mr. Cooley. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the nominations are closed and all ballots cast. And I declare Mr. Cooley duly elected Sergeant at Arms. Mr. Doorkeeper. Mr. Doorkeeper, please allow Mr. Jerry Cooley, Sergeant at Arms, entrance to the chamber and escort him to the front of the chamber. Congratulations. The next order of business will be the adoption of several resolutions related to the organization of this Senate. The Secretary will now read a resolution.
Senate Resolution Number 1 by Senator Miller of the 49th, a resolution to notify the House of Representatives that the Senate has convened and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Mr. Secretary, please read a resolution.
Senate Resolution Number 2 by Senator Miller of the 49th, a resolution to notify the governor that the General Assembly has convened and for other purposes.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. At this time, I will appoint the following senators as a committee of notification. Senator from the 49th, Senator from the 15th, Senator from the 30th, Senator from the 55th, Senator from the 8th, Senator from the 45th, and Senator from the 50th. I would ask that those members of the committee meet with the Secretary of the Senate at the rostrum at the conclusion of today's session. It is now in order to consider adopting the rules of this Senate. The Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution Number 3 by Senator Miller of the 49th, a resolution adopting the rules of the Senate and for other purposes. Be it resolved by the Senate that the rules of the Senate in effect at the adjournment of the 2020 regular session of the General Assembly are hereby adopted as the rules of the Senate for the 2021-2022 biennium of the General Assembly unless and until otherwise provided by a resolution of the Senate with the following amendments. Section 1. The rules of the Senate are amended by revising Rule 2 through 1.10 as follows. 2 through 1.10, Rules Committee, Calendar Special Rules. The Committee on Rules shall arrange and fix a calendar for each day's business after the 5th legislative day. Of each regular session of the General Assembly, the committee shall post the calendar as soon as practicable following the setting of the calendar and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent that Senate Resolution 3, the rules of the Senate, be engrossed.
The Majority Leader has moved to engross Senate Resolution 3. Is there objection? There is objection. Does the Majority Leader wish to speak to his motion? He waives. Does the Minority Leader wish to speak to the motion? Chair recognizes the Minority Leader to speak to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. It has always been the rule of this Senate to use engrossment. Many of you know when we use engrossment, it shortens our debate, it shortens our ability to make a bad bill better. It shortens our ability to even make a good bill better. And we object all the time to engrossment. So I just want to go on record as saying that me and my caucus does not approve of engrossment. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield well.
Thank you, Senator. The Majority Leader has moved to engross Senate Resolution 3. All those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The Secretary will unlock the machine. Have all senators voted? Have all senators voted? Mr. Secretary, will you please lock the machine? On the motion, the ayes are 32, the nays are 21, and Senate Resolution 3 is engrossed. Now I'd like to recognize the Majority Leader to speak to Senate Resolution 3 in the well.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you remember a couple of years ago, we moved to engross the Senate rules, and it was a little bit more dynamic than what we're going to have on this iteration. I understand the minority party's position on opposing engrossment. I'm sure when we were in the minority, we opposed it as well. I will say that I'm thankful that we had the opportunity last week to sit down with members of the minority party and go line by line, paragraph by paragraph, through the rules so that nobody would be surprised. To say that I learned my lesson last year may be an understatement, but I wanted to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to read through it, understand the mild administrative changes that are in this set of rules as opposed to what we had before. So like I said, I understand the thought process of engrossment, but there is also a unity of effort that we can put together on this mild administrative resolution that's coming for us as the first thing that we're actually going to vote on during this session. Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against Senate Resolution 3? The chair sees none. The previous questions ordered. The questions on the adoption of Senate Resolution 3, the rules of the Senate. All those in favor of Senate Resolution 3 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The secretary will unlock the machine. Have all senators voted? Have all senators voted? Mr. Secretary, please lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Resolution 3, the yeas are 52, the nays are 1, and this resolution has passed. Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent that Senate Resolution 4 be engrossed.
The Majority Leader has moved that Senate Resolution 4 be engrossed. Is there objection? There is objection. Would the Majority Leader like to speak to his motion? He waves. Would the Minority Leader like to speak to her objection? She waves. Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was a great test run for what's coming here in a little bit. But sequencing of this, we probably ought to read the resolution before we move on that one. Right? We're going to the suspension of the rules. Thank you. Yet nobody can see your hand behind my back moving my mouth right now.
Thank you for that clarification, Majority Leader. All right, now we're going to work with the Majority Leader on the suspension of the rules. The Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we all know, the COVID-19 virus is still with us. In order to allow the Senate to move forward in a safe and effective manner, I have several unanimous consent requests that would suspend the rules or otherwise change the operations of the Senate until such time as the President of the Senate reports to the Senate that these precautions are no longer needed.
The Secretary has reminded me that a copy of all of these proposed suspension of rules are on each member's desk. The Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader to make those unanimous consent requests.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to suspend that portion of the Senate Rule 51.5A, which requires that the electronic voting machine be set for a 60-second time period and locks when that time period is reached. In lieu of that rule, the voting machine will be left open for a period of time sufficient to allow the senators to make their way to the Senate floor and cast their votes on the electronic voting machine while maintaining social distancing. The period of time to vote will be left open to the discretion of the President, who will close the vote when he has assured himself that all members wishing to vote have voted.
Is there objection to the request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. The majority leader is continued to be recognized.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rule 8-1.1, which requires senators to seek recognition from their desk. In addition to seeking recognition from their desk, senators may seek recognition from the back of the chamber in order to allow for social distancing. Senators will continue to ask questions from their desk and speak from the well.
Is there objection to the request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. Chair continues to recognize the majority leader.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rule 9-1.9 related to the press gallery on the Senate floor, so as to move the Senate press gallery to the Senate gallery in order to ensure appropriate social distancing. It will be within the discretion of the President to allow a limited number of members of the press on the Senate floor for a limited period of time while maintaining appropriate social distancing.
Is there objection to the request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. Continue to recognize the majority leader.
I ask unanimous consent to suspend those portions of the Senate Rules 9-1.16 and 9-1.9 related to the Senate gallery so as to close the Senate gallery to the public and reserve the gallery for the press and media so that the press and media may operate in an environment that maintains appropriate social distancing. Tripods and cameras will be permitted in the gallery. I would stress that the public will continue to be able to watch sessions of the Senate on closed-circuit television in the Capitol as well as on the internet.
Is there objection to the request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. The chair continues to recognize the majority leader.
Mr. President, I want to assure the senators that they will be able to attend committee meetings and participate in those meetings with appropriate social distancing. In order to accommodate the members of the committee in this fashion, it was necessary to reduce the space normally available to the press and the public. Thus, while all committee meetings will be open to the press and the public with appropriate social distancing, the press and the public will be allowed into the committee room only as space permits. We will continue to broadcast committee meetings as usual on closed-circuit television in the Capitol and on the internet.
Is there objection to this request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. Chair continues to recognize the majority leader.
I ask unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rules 2-3.3A and B, which requires members to attend all committee meetings.
Is there objection to this request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. Continue to recognize the majority leader.
I ask unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rule 9-1.8, which authorizes the Senate Page program.
Is there objection to this request? Chair hears none, and it is ordered. The chair continues to recognize the majority leader.
And finally, I ask for unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rule 9-1.10, which permits spouses or family members on the floor of the Senate unless authorized by the President.
Is there objection to the request? The chair hears none, and it is ordered. It is now in order to consider our housekeeping resolution. The Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution Number 4 by Senator Miller of the 49th. A resolution relative to officials, employees, and committees in the Senate and for other purposes. Be it resolved by the Senate that the following provisions shall be in effect during the 2021-2022 biennium of the General Assembly unless and until otherwise provided for by a resolution of the Senate. Part 1, Section 1-1. Subject to the availability of funds appropriated or otherwise available for the Senate Committee on Administrative Affairs person to Senate rules is authorized to employ on behalf of the Senate. That completes the order.
The chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll try this again. I move that the Senate engross Senate Resolution 4.
The majority leader has moved that we engross Senate Resolution 4. Is there objection? There is objection. Does the majority leader wish to speak to his motion? Does the minority leader wish to speak to her objection? She waves. The majority leader has moved to engross Senate Resolution 4. All those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The Secretary will unlock the machine. Have all senators voted? Double check your machines if you're a freshman and you're at your desk and you haven't voted. There's one of them. And he just figured it out. Mr. Secretary, please lock the machine. On the motion, the ayes are 32, the nays are 21, and Senate Resolution 4 is engrossed. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader to speak to Senate Resolution 4.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an administration bill. This is the budget bill for Committee on Administrative Affairs that we all work by. Nothing real controversial on this one. So I'd appreciate, I understand your vote on engrossment, but I would appreciate a favorable vote on the passage of the resolution. I yield well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against Senate Resolution 4? The chair sees none, and the previous question is ordered. The question is on the adoption of the resolution. All those in favor of Senate Resolution 4 will vote aye. Opposed, no. The Secretary will unlock the machine. Have all senators voted? Mr. Secretary, please lock the machine. On the adoption of the resolution, the ayes are 53, the nays are 0, and Senate Resolution 4 is adopted. Mr. Secretary, do we have any resolutions from the House at this time? All senators who have bills or resolutions, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. Don't all rush at once. The Senate has received communication from the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Supreme Court requesting that their appointments to the Judicial Qualifications Commission be confirmed by the Senate. The Secretary will read the communication.
Mr. President, the Secretary of the Senate has received a communication from the Honorable David Ralston, Speaker of the House of Representatives, respectfully requesting that the Senate confirm his appointment of Mr. James Bali to the Judicial Qualifications Commission. In addition, the Secretary of the Senate has received a communication from the Honorable David Namias, Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, respectfully requesting that the Senate confirm his appointment of the Honorable Robert McBurney to the Judicial Qualifications Commission. A copy of these communications has been placed on the desk.
Pursuant to Senate Rule 3-3.1, the appointments are referred to the Committee on Assignments. Are there any unanimous consents? The chair hears none. Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? The chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, we're working in a different scenario this year, but actually I want to recognize the Doctor of the Day and invite you all to go down and see him at the medical aid station. The Doctor of the Day today is Dr. Brett Cannon, and he earned his undergraduate and medical degrees from the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. He then trained at Emory University, where he was chief resident in emergency medicine, and he also earned an MBA from UGA. Dr. Cannon joined Apollo MD in 2000 and has served as medical director for multiple facilities, bringing his expertise in emergency department flow and efficiency, healthcare economics, and health system logistics. As medical director, he has led his emergency department, which is in my district, to recognition by Press Ganey with the Compass Award, which recognizes outstanding patient satisfaction scores. Dr. Cannon serves as president overseeing clinical operations within the WellStar system in Atlanta, and I would invite all of you all to go and visit with Dr. Cannon at the medical aid station today. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Thank you, Senator. The chair recognizes the minority leader for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I'd first like to welcome all new members of this body. I'm so happy that you're here, and I hope that your experience will be a great one. But I'd like to also offer my disappointment that you weren't able to bring your families and your friends to see you get sworn in today. That has been something that we've done for years and years, and because of this raging pandemic, we cannot enjoy those simple pleasures of life. So I offer my disappointment along with you. But as we embark on this, my 23rd year in the Georgia General Assembly, and my first as minority leader, I want to call attention to the opportunities that are brought forth by new beginnings. We also like to think that when we begin things, we have the best of intentions. Georgia has just endured an unprecedented level of national attention, scrutiny of our laws, our elections, and our elected officials. A lot of people's intentions have been called into question. But beginning now, we have an opportunity to show the people of this state that we here in this capital have not forgotten, and we have not lost sight of who we are here to serve. I believe that no matter the party, Georgians are counting on us to return our attentions to the problems that we can solve for the people of our state. I know my caucus intends to do just that. I hope that every opportunity that avails itself to us, we will take advantage of all of those moments. The people of Georgia want an economy that works for all, not just for the wealthy few. They want equality for Georgians who strive for access to decent health care, voting rights, and equal treatment under the law. They want a fully funded education system where teachers and students are given the support they deserve. And they want environmental policies that protect our people and our planet from pollution and the dangers of climate change. We know each of us came here to make a difference. And now, as a body, we can make that happen. We already know that when we work together as a body, we make a difference. We have seen it happen. Issues such as hate crimes, domestic violence, and surprise medical billing, we made it happen. As we convene for this 2021 session, the COVID-19 pandemic is still raging across our state, with more than 10,000 souls lost and countless lives and families changed forever. It's our duty to do all that we can to support Georgia's families, support medical providers, small businesses, and schools through trust in science and sound policies. We want to lift people up so that our state can recover. We must not be distracted any longer. So let the work begin. Let's get it done. Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to the senators.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 56th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be back with each one of you. I wanted to provide an update on public safety for our capital. I want to begin by thanking the Department of Public Safety here in Georgia, members of the Georgia State Patrol, the Capitol Police, the GBI, all the other agencies, both statewide as well as our counterparts in the city, county, and federal level, who are all here to assure that we can be safe. We can have people come express their opinions and their interest in the word of the day. And we can all work together in harmony. And I want to thank the Minority Leader for her great comments. Those were wonderful. And I'm going to ask not just us, but the members of the press to remember that hundreds, if not thousands, of bills and resolutions we pass are nearly unanimous in this body. And rather than picking off the 1, 2, or 3 out of those thousands and rerunning them over and over again as a source of sensationalism, let's focus on all the positive, because we do extraordinarily positive things here in this building, and we do them together. And I want to thank you, Mr. President, our Lieutenant Governor, and our Governor, Brian Kemp, as well, for us working together with our colleagues in the House and together to make Georgia the example of how we can work together to serve others. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 42nd for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues, and welcome to all of our new senators. I'm sure that we can all hope that 2021 will be calmer than 2020. But as we begin a new legislative session and political cycle, I feel we must take a moment to reflect upon the bloody culmination of the last election. January 6th, 2021 will be forevermore known as a dark day in our nation's history. A bloody insurrection incited by the sitting President of the United States occurred when a violent mob stormed our Capitol building in an attempt to disrupt the democratic process. The participants believed that they were the ones saving American democracy rather than the ones trying to subvert it. They believed this, despite all credible evidence, because the most powerful person in our country, the president, told them that the election was stolen. This despite the insistence of elected officials in our state and others that the election was free and fair, the speedy dismissal of over 60 lawsuits by 90 judges of both parties, the declaration of Christopher Krebs of the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr, and many others. But many others enabled the lie and helped destroy faith in democracy by lending their own names and positions of power to lies and conspiracies. In this combustible situation, even staying silent helped the doubts grow. I have very real affection for all of you, so it troubles me greatly that we had members of our body who furthered the narrative, where political ambition seemingly overcame judgment. Members who know better but still contributed to a spectacle where committee meetings of the Georgia State Senate were used as an official platform to spread lies and unfounded doubts by the president's highest-ranking enablers. This, my colleagues, was a reckless decision. Gabriel Sterling had unequivocally stated days earlier that those who were not speaking up were leading us down a path where someone was going to get shot. I saw it firsthand when I became the recipient of death threats as the first quote-unquote hearing unfolded. And let me take a quick aside to thank the various law enforcement agencies that helped myself and my family stay safe and feel safe as the next weeks unfolded. The bloody storming of the U.S. Capitol was unsurprising to anyone who has been paying attention. With authority comes responsibility, And our country desperately needed more leaders to use their positions of power to stop or blunt the lies and the fomentation of violence. I want to thank our Lieutenant Governor, who followed his conscience to speak the truth at great personal and political risk. I also want to thank our President Pro Tem and our Majority Leader, and many others, but most especially our Secretary of State. Elected officials should encourage the public's faith in our democracy and its institutions. We should not sow doubt, anger, and faithlessness in the citizens who elected us. We shouldn't echo false claims when we know that to do so is to strike at the very heart of our democratic system. Perhaps all of those who imitated or enabled the president as he openly marched his millions of supporters toward the January 6th culmination of his falsehoods thought that the damage wouldn't be too bad, that they could gain the support and votes of his followers without cost to themselves or to our country. But they were wrong. There has been real damage done to our country, to our state, and even to this body. As we begin a new legislative session, let's reflect seriously on the oath that we all just took. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. And clearly, we can make it a Happy New Year working together. I want to congratulate the new administration officers that were elected this morning, and definitely welcome aboard to all our brand new leaders and senators. Also, congratulations to the other senators who were reelected. We are all duly reelected, and I look forward to working with you no matter what our different opinions are on the same issues. But today I stand up to recognize a big problem that we have here in the great state of Georgia, and that is human trafficking. Today is National Human Trafficking Day. We should have it every day. Back in the late 90s when I first was elected, and then I left for 8 years and came back, but when I was first in the Senate, I personally saw this serious problem throughout Atlanta. And I put maybe the first bill in that we had on human trafficking. And this body and the House passed it, and it was to make it a felony to pimp or pander our children. We've built on that legislation since then, and I applaud you, but the problem still exists. And a few years ago, I passed a piece of legislation, thanks to all of your support, to put posters in bathrooms or in government buildings and airports, bus stations, etc., to put a hotline for human trafficking and letting people know if you are if you're trafficked or you know someone who is, call this number. And I am so happy that the state of Georgia has saved so many people since then. But it's so much more to go. So today I want to applaud our First Lady of the state of Georgia for working very hard on human trafficking. And I want to encourage all of you to continue to strengthen these laws so we won't have to have a human trafficking day. We can save these young people. It's atrocious to know that even in my district, right now as we speak, children are being trafficked. The police know about it, they try to stop it, but we need stronger legislation. So thank you very much, Mr. President, for allowing me the opportunity to greet everyone and to put this on our minds. So thank you, Senators. I yield the will.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 10th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of this body. I stand before you to share with you that I've served 8 terms in this body. And never before during those 8 terms that I've served in this body that we have convened this session under the cloud of an insurrection in our nation's capital. And I think for a moment we all need to reflect on this moment, because I know I watched in horror as the attempted coup and insurrection attempted to take over the legislative process in Washington, D.C. I believe that those who participated in the attempted overthrow and all the dark money that supported their efforts should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It's my opinion that the scales of justice should apply equally to everyone, regardless of their wealth, their influence, or even position in life. So imagine my horror of learning that one of our own, our Attorney General, and the association that he chaired was one of the chief sponsors under his Rule of Law Defense Fund for this, quote, Save America rally in our nation's capital. Imagine my horror of learning that our state's AG was one of the masterminds behind the potential coup in our nation's capital. Imagine my horror of learning that the same AG that we in Georgia entrust with protecting our electoral process is now clandestinely supporting the insurrection in our nation's capital. And I don't say these words very lightly, by the way. Imagine my horror that after celebrating our 2 U.S. Senate races, we learned that our president attempted on multiple occasions to circumvent the will of the people and directly appeal to our Secretary of State and election monitors to overturn our elections and declare him the winner. Imagine my horror in realizing that his efforts will likely go unpunished because our state's AG may be complicit in his efforts with his organization's support and their money. Imagine my horror in learning that the very pillars of our democracy has been shaken to the core by AG and those that are in position of trust and great power that have been conspiring with the Trump administration. Friends, we can learn from this attempted insurrection and incitement to violence. This past week, and I said to you that we can only do that if we hold everyone who participated, either directly or indirectly, responsible for their actions and involvement. I believe that any of those that are involved in this incident in D.C. that are members of this great state, that are in positions of power, should step aside. Additionally, I'm calling on the governor to direct the GBI to investigate the involvement of any citizen or organization in our great state that may have participated directly or indirectly in this violent insurrection in our nation's capital. Justice must be served in Georgia, and everyone must be held to account regardless of their position or power. Nothing less than our freedoms and democracy deserves no less, and I say to you, it deserves no more. Imagine not just my horror, but imagine the horror of those in this great state and across this nation that witnessed these events unfolding in Washington, D.C. But I say to you, if there's ever was a time in this great state that Georgia must rise up, now is it. And I too commend our Lieutenant Governor, our Secretary of State, and our governor for pushing back against these forces of power that attempted to change the election outcome in this great state. But if we as citizens of this great state is ever going to rise up and support the freedoms that we enjoy, then we got to recognize that there is mob violence, not just in Washington, D.C., but also mob violence even in our own state, perpetrated by those that we may know. We have to rise up against the insurrectionists and those that support their efforts, and I believe that we should rise up against hate groups, white supremacists, and even those that are anti-Semitic. I believe that we should rise up against neo-Nazis and the fringe elements on both sides of the political spectrum. I believe that as ever was a time in this great state that we need to rise up, now is the time, because we need to rise up against those that seek to undermine our democratic values. And I simply say to you, as a member of this great body, if we, as a state, is going to ever rise up, we need to start right here in this General Assembly. Thank you, and God bless you.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 36th for a point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues, and welcome back to new faces and old. It's good to be together again. We have critically important business that we face in this year, 2021. I will seek to address briefly, and with more information later, the fact that one of the huge challenges before us is COVID-19. I know at least one member is absent today due to infection. Another member in the House, at least one. We don't want those numbers to grow, but we must face the fact that we, as Georgia, are at the bottom of the list in getting the vaccine out across this great state. That is not acceptable. We are not a state scrambling for the barest resources and necessities. We have great resources here in the state, great universities, great scientists, a great medical community, a great nonprofit network across this state, and demonstrated commitment by folks that want to help, reach out and help their fellow brothers and sisters. We cannot tolerate being at the bottom of the list of all the states in the country of the lack of progress in moving forward this vaccine program. I look forward to hearing publicly and privately from those among us who are doctors and health professionals. What is to be done? We must call on the leadership of the state, including ourselves, this chamber, the House across the way, the governor, and our public health officials to step up. Other states are doing model work. There are places to look and guidance to seek if we have not figured out how to do this. But what we cannot do is tolerate this current level of being at the bottom of the nation in the levels of vaccine that we're getting out. Lives are at stake, and I cannot see any excuse. I have yet to see an excuse offered by those in charge for why this is happening. So I challenge all of us to put our shoulder to the wheel, certainly the health professionals among us that are front line on this, and do the education. Now, you know that we are up against a lot of mythology that has been spread, falsehoods. A relative in my family, in her extended family, she was told, well, that's just a Democratic hoax. I'm not going to worry about going Thanksgiving with my relatives down in South Georgia. Well, she came home with COVID, and she's over 70. She's pulled through. Everybody won't. And we all know there's a long COVID that follows you, potentially, if you're 1 in 3, for months, if not years, with this dread virus. So no plaything. This is not a hoax. You know, we all remember back in June, people were standing up in this chamber without a mask on, talking in each other's faces, just as close as I am to this mic. So let's not participate anymore in spreading that lie, which was coming out of the mouth of the president. This is serious. It's deadly. We have lost countless lives, and each day brings new and more horrible numbers for the death rates here in Georgia. I know I'm looking at the faces of people who share this concern. I'm not lodging an attack on you. I'm saying let us bring our very best efforts to be part of the leadership in this state that takes on this challenge of getting this vaccine rolled out all across this great state, saving lives. Thank you for your attention.
Chair would like to recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 o'clock on Tuesday, 12 January 2021.
Mr. Secretary, will you please read the announcements?
I'd like to remind everybody that you have your oaths of office to be signed. They're on your desk. Mr. Martin will be in the hallway to accept those and give you your certificate of election from the Secretary of State. In addition, I would remind you that the ceremonial swearing in for freshmen will begin at 1 o'clock today. Thank you.
Does any other senator have an announcement that they would like to make? I want to thank everybody for a great first day. It's great to see so many, like I said, familiar faces and new faces, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. The Majority Leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until Tuesday, January 12th, 2021 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Once again, on the motion, the ayes clearly have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow at 10 a.m. I don't know how many more.